What is going on, everybody? Today we are back, and today it is time for our final video of the regular season. It's 2022 week number 18 picks and predictions. And yes, I'm aware the video is focused on me, not the helmets. I've been working for a while trying to figure it out, but it just isn't working well. So you're just going to have to accept the fact that it's focused on me and not the helmets, even though it should be the helmets. But whatever, I'm just going to have to accept it. But again, I am filming on my iPhone 6s. I do have a new phone. I have an iPhone 13 mini, but so this one will be used next week. I'll be using my new phone for next week's video, but I'm sticking with the old one for this week just because the battery is already crappy on the old one, so why not just use that one anyways? Because who cares? So why not just use the old one while we still have it? So that's what we're going to be doing, but next week we will have a more bougie camera to be able to use, so it will not be the crappy 6S. But yes, that is that. We are prepared. It is 2022 NFL Week 18. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. As I'm sure you all know, there's a lot of stuff to talk about, and I'll be getting to all that in this video throughout the video today. Currently, this season, I hold a record, excuse me, my predictions, I am currently 136 for 255 this year. That is a QBR of 53.3%. My target percentage was 58.01. Unfortunately, I will not be meeting that threshold, even if I go even if I go 16 for 16 this week, I will still not do it. Well, actually, I could, because I do include the playoffs in these predictions, so I technically still could. Well, let's total this up here. So if I went 16, so if I said I'm 136 for 255, if I got all 16 correct, which is definitely not going to happen, but in theory, if I got all 16 correct, I would be 152 for 271. I'd be at 56%. So I'd go from 53% to 56% if I got every single prediction correct. And then if I count the playoffs in there as well, which I will, I still could get to 58. So technically, it's actually not over till it's over. But we're going to need a really good week of predictions this week. But that's what we're going to be trying to do. Last week, I went 8 for 15. So pretty average week for me. But here we go, everybody. We are just going to get right into the video. That is our first game on the docket. Again, we are kicking off with 2 games on ESPN, followed by the Sunday slate. Our first ESPN game is at 3:30 p.m. ESPN and ABC. It is the Kansas City Chiefs heading out to Vegas to take on the Las Vegas Raiders. The Kansas City Chiefs have currently clinched the AFC West division. They are first in the AFC right now with a record of 13-3. They're coming off of a 27-24 win over the Denver Broncos last week. It was actually a close game. Again, I thought the Chiefs should be able to blow them out of the water, but it did happen to be a close game. The Chiefs are set to wear white uniforms on red pants. Well, actually, I don't know that they're wearing white uniforms, but I would think red pants for this game because that is their typical uniform combination that they wear on the road, barring a primetime game, and this is not a primetime game. But I will be checking right now, actually, the Gridiron Uniform database to see if there's been any changes. As far as I know, everything is the same. Oh, okay, well, we do have one different thing since the last time I looked on here. That's it. Okay. So, like I said, yes, they will be wearing white uniforms, unsurprisingly, in this game. As far as the Las Vegas Raiders are concerned, they are out of playoff contention. They are 13th in the AFC with a record of 6-9. They're coming, They're coming off of a 37-34 loss against the San Francisco 49ers last week. They're wearing black tops, silver pants, their typical home uniforms for this game. Even though the Raiders are out of playoff contention, they put up a really good fight against 49ers last week. As a Viking fan, I obviously wanted the Raiders to win, but the more I think about it, the more I support the Vikings being in the 3 seed than the 2, and I will get to that later. But this is actually going to be a really good game. Currently, the Chiefs are favored by 9 points. Give me Las Vegas plus 9 in this game. I absolutely think the Chiefs are going to be able to win this game. Again, I'm currently filming this video on Thursday, January 5th. It is 5:38 p.m. Central Time right now. So again, because of the Cincinnati and Buffalo game, with that being canceled. Well, technically been suspended, and it won't be this week, but verified sources have been saying that the NFL is not planning on making this game up. With that being said, that is leaving the NFL in a bit of a bind because it definitely affects the AFC seeding. And as of right now, when I'm filming this, I don't know the whole scoops on how it's going to be working. So I can't say they're clinching the number one seed with a victory, but I do believe they actually will be. So I believe the Chiefs can clinch the number one seed with a victory, but I can't guarantee that because I don't know how the whole playoff picture is shaking out. That is too early. They just haven't said yet. So I'm going to be taking the Chiefs to win this game, but I'm going Las Vegas +9. I like how the Raiders put up a fight last week. It was a close game. I definitely do like the Chiefs. They're still a very good team. Of course, even with the trading of Tyreek Hill, honestly, the team is even better. But I do like the Raiders to keep it close. They put up a good fight last week. I would like the Raiders to end the season on a high note, even if it's not necessarily the win. I do think it is going to be a close game. That moves us into Saturday night. We have the division on the line for the AFC South. Yes, the Tennessee Titans are taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars with the AFC South on the line in a playoff spot. That game is coming to you guys right now. Stick around. That right there is the second game on the Saturday slate this week. We have the Tennessee Titans and the Jacksonville Jaguars in a fight for the AFC South. I can tell you this is going to be a good game. It is a bit of a shame that I'm working on Saturday, so I'm going to miss the beginning of the game, but at least I'll be around for the end. I'll probably get off work around, well, again, I live in Central Time, so the game starts at 7:20 or 7:30 or whatever it is, and it'll get done around 10:30 maybe. And again, because I live in Central Time, I get done working at about 9:30. So I'll finish this game not too long after halftime. Or that's when I'll be done. And I'll be able to watch it. It's going to be a good game. I'm excited for this one. I'm cheering for the Jaguars. As is half the country. No, more than half the country. A lot of the country is cheering for the Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence. Either way, I know that is a side point. We're actually going to get into the game right now. Tennessee Titans and Jacksonville Jaguars. The Tennessee Titans, everybody, are currently 11th in the AFC with a record of 7-9. They're coming off of a 27-13 loss against the Dallas Cowboys last week. It was a Thursday night game. Again, I can't speak a whole lot on the side of the Titans because I wasn't watching the game. I know it was a nationally televised game, but I work on Thursday nights usually, except tonight, which is like it's pretty rare this happens that I'm not working on a Thursday. But I was kind of monitoring the game, but I wasn't actually watching the game, so I can't speak on behalf of Josh Dobbs or any other Titans players because I actually wasn't really watching the game. They are wearing white tops, dark blue pants in this game. The Jacksonville Jaguars are 4th in the AFC with a record of 8-8. They're coming off of a 31-3 win at Houston against the Texans last week. They are wearing all teal uniforms for this game. Whoever loses this game is out of the playoffs and will be looking to the offseason. Whoever wins will be in the playoffs as the number 4 seed, taking on the 5 seed. So this is a huge game. A playoff spot is on the line. The winner of this game will be AFC South champions. The Jaguars are currently favored in this game by 6.5 points. And yes, there's not a whole lot to say about this game because I don't know a whole lot about the Titans. A little hard to find things to talk about. Titans had a hot start, though. They played really well up until that Chiefs game. They played well in the Chiefs game, too. They didn't get blown out. It was a good game. And then after that, they reached they fell off a cliff. They've lost how many? Man, they started the year they were second in the AFC for a while, I'm pretty sure. Even potentially above the Bills. They were right up there with the Bills. But now, man, they have collapsed. They've had probably 6 losses in a row, maybe. I don't know that for a fact. I'm just kind of saying that here. But yeah, Titans have really been struggling. Jaguars really exceeded expectations, especially since Travis Etienne this year has done a really good job. I actually picked him up on waivers earlier this year in fantasy football. One of the greatest pickups of all time I've ever had was picking up Travis Etienne off waivers. He's had a couple good games. He's had some not good games, but man, overall he's done a pretty good job. I like Travis Etienne, of course, out of Clemson. for this game, give me Jacksonville minus 6.5. I know 6.5 is a big point spread to win by, considering that Jaguars aren't an elite team. I will definitely say that. But with the division on the line, it is a home game. Jaguars fans are going to be going insane in Jacksonville. I can call that on Saturday night. I just don't feel like the Titans are going to be able to win with Josh Dobbs at quarterback. They're not going to be able to lead the team to a division title, especially with how poorly they've been playing recently. They had such a good start to the year, like I mentioned. They've really not been playing well lately. I like the Jaguars. Again, the Jaguars, this is territory they've really never been in before. They're playing with a chance at the division title. They haven't done that since 2017. But yeah, I like the Jaguars. Give me Jaguars minus 6.5. They should be able to win this game by, I think they'll assert dominance in this game. I legitimately believe so with that Jacksonville crowd, and considering that they're in, again, unforeseen land they've never been in. They're going to be really excited in this game. And the Titans, they've been here before, and they've just been struggling so bad lately. Give me Jaguars minus 6.5. That moves us to our next one. We, again, like I already mentioned in the live stream, but not in the video, we are going to be going in order of the games, not based on TV networks, not based on my preference of the games. Well, it is kind of my preference of the games, but it's going to be based on how much implications are on the playoffs. So our first game, or next game we're going to talk about is going to be the Texans and Colts, because both teams are eliminated. And yeah, so we're going to be going in order based on least eye-popping games to the most eye-popping games, but also schedule-wise too. But you know what I mean. You've been around here before. Texans, Colts, coming up right now. Pretty pointless game on our hands here, but it's whatever. The Houston Texans, it is the Indianapolis Colts to close out the year. Both teams are eliminated from the playoffs, so I'm just going to make this a pretty quick one because there's not a whole lot to talk about with this game. So same with the next 3 games in a row. The next one we have is going to be Panthers Saints, followed by Bucks and Falcons. And for those 2 games, I'm also not going to have a lot to say because I don't really care a whole lot about the games. There's not a whole lot of huge implications relating to them. But later on in the video, there will be, so there will be more to say as we go on. The Texans are last place in the AFC with a record of 2-13-1. They're coming off of a 31-3 loss against the Jaguars last week. Wearing white uniforms for this game. The Texans are currently in place for the number 1 overall pick. They get the number 1 pick if they either lose or the Bears win, and they lose the 1 pick if the Bears lose and the Texans win. But either way, I definitely think the Texans are in the driver's seat because there's no way the Bears are winning. They are straight up tankable on this game, and I'll talk about that one when we get there because it's against the Vikings, and I'm a Viking fan. The Indianapolis Colts, 14th in the AFC, 4-11-1. They lost 38-10 against the Giants last week. They're wearing their blue tops, white pants like normal in this game. Currently, the Colts are favored by 2.5. Both teams are checked out. I'm just going to go with Houston plus 2.5. Houston kind of fights, to be honest. I mean, they didn't fight well last week, but I mean, over the past couple of weeks, against the Chiefs, I mean, they fought. They didn't win the game. Again, I don't see why they should win the game, especially when the 1 pick is on the line here. Again, the Colts they couldn't give a crap if they play well or not. They're looked into the offseason. But this game could actually matter for Jeff Saturday as he's looking to maintain the full-time coaching position there. But either way, this game is just kind of a boring game. No one's going to be watching it unless you're a Texans or Colts fan. Absolutely no one is going to watch this game. So we're going to go with Houston plus 2.5 just because I simply think they're going to fight better, even though it's a boring game. That moves us to the next one. NFC South, Panthers, Saints. Both teams also out of the playoffs, so that one's going to be a pretty quick one. Another game with no implications is on our hands. We have the Panthers. We have the Saints in this game. Currently, the Carolina Panthers and Saints were both knocked out of playoff contention with the Bucks win over the Panthers last week. Panthers are 12th in the NFC. They're 6-10. They lost 30-24 at the Bucks. Again, the division was on the line in that game, and the Bucks were able to come out on top and secure the NFC South. The Saints are 11th in the NFC, record of 7-9. They're coming off of a 20-10 win at Philly last week. I like how the Saints played. Currently, the point spread is Saints minus 3.5. Give me the Panthers minus 3.5, or give me Panthers plus 3.5. I meant in this game. It's kind of a whatever game, but I mean, since the Christian McCaffrey trade, the Panthers have been actually playing pretty well, and Steve Wilkes is coaching for his job in this game. So, yeah, give me the Panthers. I just like the fight they put up. Panthers plus 3.5. Either way, even if the Saints win, I mean, it's probably going to be a close game, or maybe it's not, because who really cares about this game? But yeah, we're going to go with Carolina plus 3.5. Next one, it is going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Atlanta Falcons. Just like I said, there probably won't be a whole lot of talk about this game because the Bucs already clinched the NFC South and the Panthers are out of playoff. So no implications actually on the game whatsoever. So that's going to be a pretty quick one too. But here we go. Tampa Bay, Atlanta coming up right now. Again, the camera's focusing on me, not the helmets, which is not what I want. But, it's whatever. We're just going to have to live with it for this video. And we're just going to have to live with this game. The Bucs are currently 4th in the NFC. They clinched the NFC South with a victory over the Carolina Panthers. 30-24 was the final score. It was a quick Panthers lead turned into a Tom Brady comeback. He actually played really well in the game. I was playing against him in one of my fantasy leagues, so that was not great. They're 8-8. They're wearing white uniforms in this game. The Falcons are 13th in the NFC with a record of 6-10 out of the playoffs. They won 20-19 against the against the Cardinals last week. They're wearing black tops in this game, and I would think white pants, just like normal. Currently, oh man, I just can't talk tonight. The Falcons are favored by 4. Pretty easy pick in this game. Give me Bucs plus 4. The Bucs are playing starters in this game, which makes me question Todd Bowles. Your team's already eliminated, your team's already locked into the number 4 seed, playing likely Dallas at home. They're already locked into the 4, so why would they even play starters? They can't move up. They can't move down. Todd Bowles, I don't get it. Same with the Vikings playing starters this week, but I'll talk about that when we get to the Viking game. But yeah, that is going to do it for this one. Give me the Bucs plus 4. Pretty easy pick here. That moves us to the next one. We have got my team. You already know, the Minnesota Vikings fighting for the number 2 seed against the Chicago Bears fighting for the number 1 overall pick. That is my team. That is the Minnesota Vikings. And we are traveling out to Chicago to Soldier Field to play the Chicago Bears this week. Currently, the Vikings are favored by 7.5 as of just a little bit ago. When I looked, the Vikings are 3rd in the NFC with a record of 12-4, coming off of a terrible 41-17 loss in Lambeau against the Packers last week. The Vikings are wearing white tops in this game, and I would assume purple pants like normal. The Bears are 16th in the AFC 16th in the NFC. I typed it wrong on my document. With a record of 3-13, they have an opportunity at the number 1 overall pick, like I kind of mentioned earlier. If the Bears lose this game and the Texans win, the Bears would have the number 1 pick. Otherwise, they'll have the 2. They're coming off of a 41-10 loss at Detroit last week. The Bears are wearing all blue uniforms in this game. They're blue tops and the blue pants as well. The Bears have already ruled out Justin Fields due to a hip injury, even though everybody and their mother knows it is just simply a tank bowl, which is really why Justin Fields isn't playing, is because, well, maybe it is because they don't want to expose him to injury, but a lot of it is they're going to do everything in their power not to win this game. I am not even kidding you. The Bears are literally gifting the Vikings a victory this week. So if the Vikings don't win this game, it is a huge disappointment. As far as the Vikings, there's a lot to be said after last week's game. Kevin O'Connell did not have a great coaching game by any means. One thing that definitely frustrated me is the fact that the Viking players in Lambeau is known to have pretty bad grass there. It's not great playing conditions. So it was a little frustrating to hear that he told all the players wear 7-stud cleats because they stick into the ground better. You're going to get more traction. But a lot of players chose not to do that, and then they were slipping everywhere. Jefferson slipped once, and so then he switched his cleats after that, and that led to that led to an interception. TJ Hawkinson slipped at least once. Man, it was just all around. It was just simply a terrible game. But I have a theory. I actually saw this theory on, I believe, Twitter. Maybe it was on YouTube. But either way, There's a theory about this game, and it is that the Vikings lost on purpose last week, which is weird, but when you think about it, it actually does kind of make sense. Because the Vikings lost and the Niners won, that moved the Vikings from the 2 to the 3 seed. It flipped them with San Francisco. And now the Vikings are more than likely going to be hosting the New York Giants in the wild card round. And not by any means am I dinging the Giants, but I would personally prefer to play the Giants over the Packers and Lions right now. Giants are definitely a good team, don't get me wrong by any means, but I feel like just the Lions right now are a hot team. The Packers are a hot team as well. I would not want to face them in the first round. I think it would be best for the Vikings if Green Bay goes and travels to San Francisco, because there's potential that the Packers could somehow get revenge and knock the Niners out of the playoffs early, which would cause the Vikings to host in the second round as well, assuming the Vikings beat the Giants. So I think, no, I'm not even kidding. I think the Vikings are set up better in the 3 than they are in the 2. Because I don't want to play the Packers right now, and I don't want to play the Lions right now. And I would rather play the Giants than those teams. So I think they're actually in a good spot right now. Again, the Vikings can still get the 2 seed if they win and the 49ers lose against the Cardinals, but it's very unlikely the 49ers are losing. Also, the Vikings are playing starters in this game, but with snap count, reduced snaps, which is kind of dumb. I don't understand why, especially considering, like I said, Justin Fields is out for this game. The Bears are literally gifting the Vikings the win, and yet they're still playing starters. I'm not kidding. The Vikings backups can probably beat the Bears starters outside of Justin Fields. So I don't think there's any way, but whatever. Kevin, I also have a hot take here. This is actually not my hot take. I will give credit to Phil Mackey because I'm actually copying it from him. Phil Mackey of Score North, if you don't watch their show, Mackey and Judd, Purple Daily, go watch them. I think they do a really good job. That's where I get a lot of Viking stuff from. He had a hot take and said the Vikings would have been better off under Jim Harbaugh than Kevin O'Connell. And I agree. And it's kind of crazy to think about, but I legitimately agree with that take. The Minnesota Vikings are currently, what are we, 13-3 or something like that? Let me look. I forgot my own team's record. 12-4. The Vikings are 12-4. Sure, if Jim Harbaugh was the head coach of the Vikings, I understand the team may not be 12-4. They might not have as good of a record. Maybe they're 10-6. Maybe they're 11-5. But if you go and poll every team in the NFC playoff picture right now, is there any team saying, I fear the Vikings in the playoffs? No. The Vikings are the laughing stock of the NFL right now. And I will admit that, because I know. But if Jim Harbaugh was leading this team, he's known to have tough teams. He's known to have competitive teams. Even though they may have a couple less wins, if Jim Harbaugh was leading the team, I think there would be significantly more teams that would say, yes, I do fear the Vikings in the postseason. Look at how they play. No one is saying that right now about the Vikings under Kevin O'Connell. So I know it's a hot take. It takes a lot to be able to comprehend. But I legitimately believe this team would be better under they would be better under Jim Harbaugh than they are Kevin O'Connell. But I support Kevin O'Connell. He's a great coach, and obviously I don't have any say in it, so it really doesn't matter. But that's just from a fan perspective. I think it actually makes a lot of sense. Currently, the Vikings are favoring this game by 7.5. Give me Minnesota minus 7.5, which is a little weird. I think this could be a one-score game, no matter what. The Vikings are winning this game. This could be a one-score game, especially if the Vikings play backups at all and if they reduce the snap count. It could be a close game, but right now with them talking about starters playing, the Vikings should absolutely be able to blow the Bears out of the water without any question. Give me Vikings minus 7.5 in this game. For our next one, we are moving to I was going to say we're moving to the late afternoon games, but we're not. We've still got a few more noon games. Next up, it is an AFC North showdown. It is the Cleveland Browns and the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they are coming up right now. The Steelers have slim hopes, but their hopes are never dead, everybody. The Pittsburgh Steelers are currently 9th in the AFC with a record of 8-8. They're coming off of a 16-13 win on Sunday night at Baltimore last week. I'm assuming they'll be wearing black tops and yellow pants in this game. The Cleveland Browns are 12th in the AFC with a record of 7-9. They're out of the playoffs. They're coming off of a 24-10 win in Washington against the Commanders last week, wearing white uniforms in this game. This is a really interesting one. The Steelers are not out of the playoffs yet. Again, let's be clear here. I'm not an expert with the seedings or with the playoff clinching scenarios because I don't have it all in front of me. But I believe the Steelers make the playoffs if they win this game, which I believe will be happening. If the Dolphins lose and the Patriots lose. I believe that's how it is. Steelers win, Dolphins and Patriots both lose, which is legitimately a possibility to happen. But currently, the Browns are favored. No, the Steelers are favored by 2.5 in this game. I'm going to be going Pittsburgh minus 2.5. Like we said, the Steelers are 8-8. They've never had a losing season under Mike Tomlin. He's been around for what, like 15 years there? Maybe even more. He's also a former Viking defensive coordinator, which is pretty cool. Mike Tomlin's going to have that team ready. He is going to have the Steelers ready for this game. The Steelers are going to play well, knowing that all their playoff hopes are on the line Sunday. This team is going to play well. Yes. Steelers minus 2.5, actually a pretty easy pick for me. Yeah, I legit believe it. The Jets could potentially beat... The Jets are out of the playoff race, but I know Robert Saleh, he talked to reporters this week and said, it doesn't matter, we're out of the playoff race. We could knock our division rival, the Dolphins, out of the playoff race. And same with the Patriots, because they're playing in Buffalo against the Bills, which is obviously going to be a tough game. Same with the Dolphins, is going to be a tough game, especially if Tua is not back this week. And I hope he's not. I hope he... And I don't want to sound bad when I say this, but I don't want to see Tua back on the field this year. And again, that's obviously looking out for his safety. I just think it's too dangerous to have him out there. So with that, it is definitely legit possible that the Steelers will be making the playoffs, sneaking in as the 7th seed. Give me Pittsburgh minus 2.5 in this game. They should be able to win, and they should be able to win pretty comfortably, knowing the circumstances and how Mike Tomlin is going to have the team prepared. They put up a pretty good outing last week. Kenny Pickett actually played very well. Give me Steelers minus 2.5. Next up, AFC East, Jets, Dolphins. The Dolphins' playoff hopes are on the line. Here we go, talking about it next. Also, potentially, is Mike McDaniel's job on the line? We'll all have that right now. I think it's kind of really interesting matchup we have got on our hands here. AFC East, the Dolphins are still in the playoff hunt. The Jets are out, but we will be seeing how this will be going. Currently, the New York Jets, everybody, are 10th in the AFC with a record of 7-9. The Jets are out of the playoffs, like I said. They're coming off of a 23-6 loss in Seattle against the Seahawks last week. The Jets are currently wearing green tops for this game. Their pants have been undecided, but I would assume they're probably going to be white. The Miami Dolphins are currently 8th in the AFC with a record of 8-8, coming off of a 23-21 loss at New England against the Patriots last week. Huge loss. Absolutely huge loss for the Dolphins. They were in prime position to have the number 7 seed, but they lost it all against the against the Patriots. I was actually watching a lot of that game. The Dolphins are wearing white tops in this game. Pants are undecided. The Dolphins make the playoffs with a win and Patriots loss against the Bills, which is also quite possible. So, going to be really interesting to see how the AFC number 7 seed shakes out. Currently, here is what we're talking about. Currently, I believe the Dolphins have not decided on who their quarterback for this game will be. Last week it was Teddy Bridgewater, but I know Skylar Thompson played as well as Teddy Bridgewater went out with injury. So it could be Skylar Thompson, could it be Tua? I hope it's not Tua for the sake of himself. But yeah, we'll be seeing about that. Also, really interesting, I'm going to try and get the scoops here. Mike McDaniel. Really weird here. If they lose... So we're going to go directly from Barstool Sports here. We're going to talk about this. Really interesting headline we've got here via Matt Fitzgerald. This was published today at 2 p.m. Exact quote. This is the headline. The Dolphins reportedly may fire Mike McDaniel, which would be such an egregious, idiotic overreaction. All right, we got a lot. We got a lot to talk about here. See, this is where it would be fun if I had a podcast where I didn't just talk about specific games. If I could just talk about teams and stuff like this. But we've got a lot to unpack here with Mike McDaniel. So again, as many people may know, the Miami Dolphins started the year 8-3, huge hot start to the year. They were number 3 in the AFC for a while, potentially even higher. It looked like the Dolphins, I don't know if that's a stretch, but a lot of people would say they legitimately looked like a potential Super Bowl team. Again, Tyreek Hill for the longest time led the NFL in receiving yards. Jalen Waddle has also been balling out this year, doing really well, especially for my fantasy team. But now the Dolphins have lost 5 games in a row, and Tua has not been playing since he suffered another concussion against the Packers, which is so sad. The whole Tua situation it's sad. But, so, with that being said, I think it is insane that the Dolphins might fire Mike McDaniel if they lose this game. I understand they were 8-3, prime position, and they might finish the season 8-9 with 6 losses in a row. I understand that, but teams go through rough stretches. Tua, and I know I'm someone that I say injuries are not an excuse, because part of coaching a team and part of being a part of a team is working around injuries. It's just a part of the job. So that's why, to me, anytime people say, well, my team didn't play well this year, no, or if you're competing against another fan base, oh, well, but we had injuries. Injuries really derailed us. I'm someone that's always, like I just said, been under the belief injuries are not an excuse. Part of the job is to be able to work around injuries. You got to have depth. Your GM has to give you depth. That's just, every team has injuries. It's inevitable. That's just how the NFL works. So I don't want to blame injuries on this, but the Tua situation is just sad. There's nothing they can do to prevent it. So I know concussions and stuff, it is an injury, but I don't know if it falls in the same bin. It might. I know you guys can accuse me of being a clown for what I'm saying here, because I'm an injuries are not an excuse type person, and now I'm saying here that Tua, it's not Mike McDaniel's fault that what happened, but he does have to make in-game adjustments. He has to be prepared. That is something I can't defend him upon. But the fact that they might fire him after this, I don't know about that. He's only a first-year coach. He's still got stuff to work through. I absolutely don't believe he should be fired, but, yeah. So for this game, the Jets are currently favored at home. I know Robert Saleh for the Jets said, it doesn't matter, we're out of the playoffs. We're going to fight in this game anyways. Currently, the Jets are favored by 2 points. Give me Miami +2. I do like the Jets actually quite a bit, but I do like the Dolphins just considering how much is on the line. They know they have to win this game. Now that Mike McDaniel knows his job is on the line, he's going to be extra fired up. He needs his team to win this game. I think the Miami Dolphins should be able to take it, but oh man, Black Monday could be really interesting if the Jets win this game with Mike McDaniel's job. Give me Miami +2. That moves us into the next one. It is another AFC East battle. We have the New England Patriots. We have the Buffalo Bills. Really good game and a lot to unpack talking about those teams. Coming up right now. A lot to talk about here. We have the New England Patriots and we have the Buffalo Bills this week. We'll start with the Patriots because they're the road team. The Patriots are 7th in the AFC. The Patriots have a record of 8-8. They are coming off of a 23-21 win against the Miami Dolphins last week. Patriots are wearing white uniforms for this game. Their pants are likely going to be purple because it typically is. The Buffalo Bills are currently 2nd in the AFC with a record of 12-3. They are coming off of a no contest against the Cincinnati Bengals. They're wearing blue tops in this game. Pants have not been decided quite yet. So again, like I said, there's going to be a lot to talk about here. So let's just keep that in mind as we talk about this. So obviously, I want to send out right now publicly my thoughts and prayers have been with Damar Hamlin. I've prayed for him every single day. Um, man, such a sad situation that we've seen, and for everyone, for obviously the players, it obviously affects the players. I mean, they witnessed what they witnessed in front of their eyes. Man, you got to feel for the players. They witnessed one of their brothers near death on the field, which is they spend about as much time with those players they spend as much time with those teammates as they do with their family. So he's a brother to them. And for me and everyone, I mean, it doesn't affect me. I don't know him personally. I'm not a Bills fan. I'm not a Bengals fan. I'm a Viking fan. But what's true is I'm a football fan. I'm a fan of all teams. I'm a fan of all players. I've never wished injury upon anyone. I just feel like that's disgusting to do. So watching that scene on Monday, it hurt as a fan. And again, like I said, I don't even know him personally. I'm not a fan of either team. I'm not a fan of the Bills. I'm not a Bengals fan either, but I mean, it hurt to watch. I mean, I watched it for an hour and a half on the couch. I didn't move from my spot. And I just kept watching the TV and going on Twitter to see the latest I can find because I wanted to be obviously okay, make a full recovery. It's a big deal, man. And sad situation on our hands. Really going to be interesting to see how the AFC playoff picture is going to shake out. But as of right now, we don't know how that's going to work. And also, trusted sources have been saying Bills Bengals will be declared a no contest game and it will not be made up. I know the NFL has not officially announced that yet, but I have been seeing verified sources saying the game will not be made up. So that's why it's really dicey as far as what happens with the schedule. But I'm not going to speculate anything. I'm not in the right to speculate about anything. So I'm just going to continue moving on here. For this game, currently the Bills are favored by 7. You know what? Let's do it. I initially had New England plus 7 in this game. I just thought that, the Bills have a lot in their minds. Obviously, with everything that happened, are they going to be 100% mentally prepared to play football? But I'm going to be switching my prediction on the spot. I'm going Buffalo minus 7. Considering the great news we got today that that Damar is awake, he's able to communicate, and the fact that he's able to move extremities and he's alert, that's huge news right there. And I listened today live. I was listening to Josh Allen and Sean McDermott for the first time since Monday. They talked to the media, and they seemed happy. Well, not necessarily, but you know what I mean. They obviously seem joyed to hear that news that he's alert. He's how do I say it? It's hard. You know what I mean. It's hard to find something to say that's not considered. I don't want to say something that could in any way, shape, or form be considered disrespectful. So that's why, as you can see right now, I'm being very careful with my wording of things. But yeah, it seemed that the Bills, Josh Allen, McDermott, they seemed really happy to know that he is in a good spot right now. And I was really happy this morning at school when I went on Twitter and saw the news that he is awake and he is able to squeeze hands in stuff like that. Good for him. And I don't want to talk a whole lot about it because I'm not really in the right to talk about it. I'm just a fan of everything. But the biggest thing of importance right now is that he makes a full recovery, and I'm really pushing for it. I'm praying every single day for him because I'd love to see it, especially seeing the situation that happened. Obviously, everyone would love to see a full recovery, and I'm going Buffalo -7 in this game. I initially had New England +7. I thought maybe the Bills wouldn't be in the right mindset, but I know for a fact the Bills are going to go out there Sunday and they're going to say, that is our brother, and they are going to say, we are going to play for our brother. And we know that DeMar cares for the team because the first question he asked last night when he was awake was, did my team win? Which is kind of funny, seeing that. Just that's how you know he truly cares about his brothers. And in this case, his brothers care about him. So they're going to be motivated to go out there and they're going to win for Damar Hamlin on Sunday. I can guarantee you they're going to talk about that. They're going to say this game is our most important game of the year. We're going to go out there and we're going to win, and we're going to win for him. I feel like the Bills are going to be fired up because they know that they're going to be playing with Damar watching. And that's just going to mean the world to them. Give me Buffalo -7. That moves us to the next one. It is our final early game. It is the Cincinnati Bengals hosting the Baltimore Ravens. Coming up right now. By no means am I an expert at all, but I am going to be going through Bengals and the AFC North and the Ravens. So, because I've been seeing that it likely will be a no contest between the Bills and Bengals, that game will likely not be made up, that gives no chance for the Ravens to win the AFC North. So, based on what I'm seeing, again, I have no I could be wrong. I'm by no means an expert on this, but I believe that means the Bengals have technically already clinched the AFC North. But I could be wrong. Either way, they're going to clinch it in this game because I'm taking Cincinnati. But here we are to talk about it. The Baltimore Ravens are 6th in the AFC with a record of 10-6. They're coming off of a 16-13 loss against the Pittsburgh Steelers on Monday Night Football last week. They're wearing white uniforms in this game with, I believe, purple pants. The Cincinnati Bengals are 3rd in the AFC with a record of 11-4. They're coming off of a no contest against the Buffalo Bills. They're wearing all black uniforms in this game. Currently, the Bengals are favored by 7. Give me Cincinnati -7 in this game. Even though I do believe they technically have clinched the AFC North already, I do like the Bengals. The Bengals have just been playing really well over the course of the season, and especially considering they do have extra kind of rest after the no game against the Bills, kind of. But again, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to word it. Little weird here, but I do like the Bengals in this game. I think they should be able to win. Again, it's a home game for Cincinnati. They've been playing really well lately. And one of the other key factors is I don't believe Lamar Jackson will be playing in this game. He did not practice again today. He has not practiced or played in a month now. So I don't think there's any way Lamar is going to be able to just go out there and play. Give me Cincy -7 in this game. Joe Burrow should be able to lead them to a confirmed AFC North title. That moves us into the late afternoon games, kicking it off. Chargers and Broncos right now. The Chargers have locked up a playoff spot, and they will be headed out to Denver to close out the season. Currently, the Los Angeles Chargers are 5th in the AFC with a record of 31. No, I read the wrong column. With a record of 10-6, they're coming off of a 31-10 win against the Los Angeles Rams last week. The Chargers are wearing white uniforms in this game. The Denver Broncos are coming off of a 27-24 loss against the Kansas City Chiefs. It was a close game. They're 15th in the AFC with a record of 4-12, wearing orange tops and white pants. Again, I believe I did talk. I don't know if I've filmed a video since Nathaniel Hackett's fired. Even if I haven't, they made the right choice. Hackett clearly is the problem. They had a close game against KC last week. Currently, the Broncos, I don't know why, but somehow the Broncos are favored in this game by 2.5. Give me a Chargers plus 2.5. Easiest 2.5 in my life. The Chargers are playing starters in this game, and the Broncos are checked out. Well, I thought they were, but they played well last week, so we'll see. But the Chargers have a chance to clinch the 5 seed with a win in this game. Pretty easy one. Give me Chargers plus 2.5 in this game. We're just going to keep moving on. We have the Cardinals and the 49ers coming up next, with the 49ers had a chance at clinching the 2 seed, and also a chance at the number 1 seed. The Arizona Cardinals are finishing their season in Santa Clara against the 49ers. 49ers still have an opportunity at the number 1 seed, even though it's unlikely, it's possible. More than likely, they will be ending up with the number 2 seed in the NFC. Currently, the San Francisco 49ers are second in the NFC with a record of 12-4. They are coming off of a victory against the Las Vegas Raiders last week. It was actually a really good game. They won 37-34 in overtime. They were wearing red tops, gold pants. Their typical home combination. The Arizona Cardinals are 15th in the NFC with a record of 4-12, coming off of a 20-19 loss against the Atlanta Falcons last week. They're wearing their typical all-white uniforms for this game. Currently, the 49ers are favored by 14. I have never been correct on a spread over 11. Could I be? Guess what? Yes, we are. We are going to be taking San Francisco minus 14. I've never taken a team. I've never successfully gotten a spread correct of that large, but we're doing it. San Francisco minus 14. The Cardinals are checked out. I saw on Twitter today there's a good chance that Cliff Kingsbury will be fired on Black Monday. Yeah, nothing is going right for the Cardinals. Pretty easy. Give me the 49ers in this game. The 49ers can still get the number 1 seed if they win and the Eagles lose to the Giants, which is possible, but we'll see. Otherwise, more than likely, the Giants will be staying in the 2 seed with either a win or a Viking loss against the Bears. Either way, give me the 49ers to blow the Cardinals out of the water. 49ers minus 14. Next game, Los Angeles Rams, Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks, could they be the 7 seed? We'll talk about it coming up next. Can the Seattle Seahawks sneak in as the number 7 seed? We will be finding out Sunday. Really interesting game we've got here. Baker Mayfield and the Los Angeles Rams are heading into Lumen Stadium, or Lumen Field, whatever it's called, to take on the Seattle Seahawks, who still have a chance at the 7 seed. Currently, the Los Angeles Rams, led by Baker, are 14th in the NFC with a record of 5-11, but they don't have a first-round pick. They sold it to the Lions for Matt Stafford, so it really doesn't even matter. They have a record of 5-11. They are coming off of a 31-10 loss against the Los Angeles Chargers last week. The Seahawks are wearing white uniforms in this game, along with their, I believe, blue pants. They're blue or purple, whatever. I think they're blue. I'm colorblind with blue and purple, actually, so I'm pretty sure it's blue, but, I'm could be wrong. The Seattle Seahawks are 7th in the NFC with a record of 8-8. They're coming off of a 23-6 victory against the New York Jets last week. The Seahawks are wearing their dark blue tops in this game. Their college navy tops is the color officially, and their pants have been undecided. Currently in this game, the Seahawks are favored by 6 points. I'm going to be going Seattle minus 6 in this game. I actually did see per CBS Sports and DraftKings, a lot of people are siding with Baker and the Rams because they don't have first-round picks, so they have more incentive to win this game. They're out of the playoffs anyways. I don't like the Rams in this game. Again, the Seahawks know what's at stake. They had a good win last week against the Jets. The Seahawks make the playoffs with a win and a Lions win over the Packers. So they need 2 things to happen. They need to beat the Rams. They need the Packers to lose to the Lions in order for the Seahawks to make the playoffs. I do like the Seahawks odds of sending it to Sunday night because I do think the Seahawks will win this game. Give me Seattle minus 6. Either way, it's going to actually be a pretty good game. That moves us into the next one. It is the Dallas Cowboys with a still opportunity at the NFC East. They are traveling out to face the Washington Commanders. Ron Rivera, is his job on the line? We'll be talking about that next. Dan Snyder and not necessarily him, but the lowly Washington Commanders are hosting the Dallas Cowboys to close out their season this week. Currently, the Dallas Cowboys are 5th in the NFC, as they've been like the whole year. They haven't moved. They are 5th in the NFC with a record of 12-4, coming off of a 27-13 win against the Tennessee Titans on Thursday night last week. They're wearing blue tops and white pants in this game. The Washington Commanders are currently out of the playoffs. They have a record of 7-8-1. They're 10th in the NFC. They're coming off of a 24-10 loss against the Cleveland Browns last week. Their Commanders, I believe, are wearing all white uniforms in this game. Is Dan or not Dan Snyder? Dan Snyder needs to step down as owner there. Is Ron Rivera's job at head coach on the line? I legit believe yes. The Commanders, they snuck in the playoffs in 2020, missed last year. There was some hype behind them. Then they benched Taylor Heineke, and then they played what's his face, Carson Wentz last week, and then I'm sorry, but what Ron Rivera said last week is a straight up joke. He said he was asked after the game, so will you be starting Sam Howell next week? Considering that your team can be eliminated from playoff contention today, and he looked at the reporters and he's like, "What? My team can be eliminated today? I didn't know that." You clown! You got to know stuff like that. As an NFL head coach, you have to know that your team is at risk of elimination. And he did not know that his team could lose or could be eliminated. And sure enough, they were eliminated with their loss coupled with the Packers' win over the Vikings. I'm sorry, man. Ron Rivera's got to go. They've had so many opportunities. That whole organization, though, there's a lot to be said about that organization. They just need a complete rebuild. And not by rebuild, I don't mean front office. They need a complete organizational rebuild over there, but we'll see about that. Again, the Dallas Cowboys, man, they've been fighting. The Eagles have had a chance at the number 1 seed, clinching the number 1 seed in the NFC East for probably like 3 weeks now, and they have not been able to do it. The Cowboys are hanging around, and the Cowboys still have a chance at the NFC East. If the Cowboys win and the Eagles lose, the Cowboys win the NFC East, and I actually kind of hope that happens. It would be funny to see the Eagles not win the NFC East after they started, 12-1 or whatever the heck they started. I don't even remember what it was, but I'm not even going to try and figure it out. But the Cowboys can still win the number 1 seed if they win. The Eagles lose and the 49ers lose, which is unlikely. 49ers are probably not going to lose to the Cardinals, so I don't think they're getting the 1 seed. But they still have potential of, we'll be seeing. I do hope they win the NFC East because it would actually be really funny if the Cowboys won and the Eagles didn't. But for this game, currently the Cowboys are favored by 7. Give me Dallas -7. I already saw that Sam Howell is going to be starting this game, I believe, for the Commanders. So they don't have really any reason to win this game anyways. Give me the Cowboys. Again, they're still in the running for the NFC East number 1 seed. Give me the Cowboys. They have a lot to play for. Commanders have nothing to play for with Sam Howell. Next game, Giants, Eagles, number 1 seed is on the line with the NFC East. Coming up next. Philadelphia Eagles are closing the season at home in an absolute must-win game. Yes, the New York Giants are set to face the Philadelphia Eagles this week with the NFC East on the line. Currently, the New York Giants are 6th in the NFC, with a record of 9-6-1. The Giants are coming off of a 31-10 victory against the Indianapolis Colts last week. They're wearing their all-white uniforms in this game. The Giants clinched a playoff spot. They're locked into the number 6 seed, likely going to be playing my team, the Minnesota Vikings, in the playoffs. So the Giants are locked into the 6th seed, so I don't think they'll be playing starters, but I can look to confirm that one. Are the Giants playing starters? Looks like he hasn't actually announced it, whether they will be or not. It says he's mulling the decision. I don't get why they should, but whatever. Either way, they should rest their starters. That'd be kind of dumb if they played them. Again, they're locked into the 6th seed. They can't move anywhere. As far as the Eagles are concerned, again, like I said earlier, they've had a chance to clinch the NFC East for 3 weeks now, and they've not been able to do it. They are first in the NFC with a record of 13-3. They're coming off of a 20-10 loss against the New Orleans Saints last week. They are wearing all black uniforms in this game, including the black helmets. The Eagles can clinch the NFC East with a win or a Cowboys loss, and they also clinch the number 1 seed with a win as well. Huge game. Eagles need to win this game. I do believe Jalen Hurts will be back for this game. Currently, the Eagles are favored by 14. Give me the Giants plus 14. Even if they rest starters, I definitely think the Eagles are going to win this game, and I've been saying that for like 3 weeks now. But I know the Eagles should be able to win this game, especially with Jalen Hurts coming back, I believe, for this one. Definitely the Eagles should be able to win, but will it be by 14 or more? Again, Gardner Minshew didn't play well last week, so if he has to step in again, he had a good matchup against the Cowboys, did not have a good matchup against the Saints. If Gardner Minshew does have to play, how well will he fare? Either way, I don't think this game will be a blowout. Give me New York plus 14, even though I definitely think the Eagles will clinch the number 1 seed in NFC East with a win. That moves us to our next one. It is the final game of the week. NFC North battle, 2 of the Viking rivals. It is the Lions and the Packers on Sunday night NBC. Good game. Really, really tasty game on the docket. I know it's a lot for views for the NFL, but we have got the Lions, we have got the Packers to close out the week. The Detroit Lions, everybody, are currently 8th in the NFC with a record of 8-8. They're coming off of a 41-10 victory against the Chicago Bears last week. The Lions are wearing white uniforms in this game. Pants have not been decided, and they won't come out until Saturday night. Usually it's the day before, the Lions always do. The Green Bay Packers are currently 9th in the NFC with a record of 8-8. They're coming off of a 41-17 win against the Minnesota Vikings last week. They're wearing their green tops and gold pants, their typical home attire for this game. This is going to be a good one. Again, so the Lions make the playoffs as the number 7 seed if they win this game and they need the Rams to beat the Seahawks. The Packers are in the playoffs as the 7th seed if they win. That's it. Regardless of Rams Seahawks, the Packers win this game and they will be in the playoffs. And I know people can complain it's kind of a bogus move because the NFL didn't put this game at the same time as Rams Seahawks. So the Lions are going to know if they're eliminated before the game even kicks off, but whatever. I know Dan Campbell talked about this week. Someone asked about him, like, how does it feel knowing that your team could potentially be eliminated before the game even starts? And he said, it doesn't matter if my team's eliminated or not. We are going to be out there and we are going to win. We're going to try and win the game. And, I mean, he knows that they can end the Packers season with a win. And I would love seeing it. As a Viking fan, I know for the past how many weeks now, Packer fans have been saying, we're going to come back. We're making the playoffs. Win and we're in, baby. I would love the Lions to go in there and whoop the Packers. Both teams here are good. They both put up 41 points last week. This is going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a closer game than people expect. A lot of people are going to say Packers should be able to win pretty easily, Aaron Rodgers. I think it's a good game. 2 high-powered offenses playing against each other, and Dan Campbell isn't going to say, my team's out of the playoffs, we're just going to look for the better draft position. He's going to fight because he knows he can end the Packers season on Sunday. This is going to be a good game. The Packers are favored by 4.5. I'm going to be going Green Bay minus 4.5. I do think it's going to be a close game, but I do think the Packers should be able to win by 4.5 or more. It's going to be a good game. I'm going to be really entertained watching this on Sunday night. It's going to be a good game. Viking fans are going to be cheering for the Lions. Some Viking fans are going to cheer for the Packers so that the Packers have to go into San Francisco, and then maybe they'll beat San Francisco. So the Vikings hosting round 2. But that's all too confusing. You guys probably don't understand. I'm not even going to try explaining it. That's it for this video. That is all of our predictions that we have this week. Thank you guys so much for watching. Of course, be sure to leave a like and share it with your friends if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. I will see you guys in the next one. Like, comment, subscribe, peace. Have a good night. And as always, peace out. Skol Vikings. I'll see you guys next week for the wild card.